Hey everyone, my name's Lindsay, and today I'll be telling you all about the history of Botox. Staying looking young and beautiful seems to be the most common dream of many women and men today. Most of you have probably heard about the popular Botox treatment, and you probably know it as the treatment that people use to achieve this dream. However, most people do not know the history behind it and all the events leading up to how it actually became popular today. Just in case you do not know, Botox is a series of injections typically injected into the facial muscles to treat certain conditions and reduce the appearance of wrinkles. Although people do get Botox all over their body, it's most common in the face. And then, before I go into the history of Botox, I would just like to take a second to explain a little bit about what Botox is, including the procedure, effects, and how it works. Botox is made from a toxin referred to as the botulinum toxin, which it's a powder mixed with saline, and then it's directly injected into the muscle. Once injected, it does take 24 to 72 hours to take effect, and then the muscle it was injected into actually will no longer be able to contract. Its effects do last anywhere from 3 to 6 months, but that does depend on the person and what procedure they got done. Botox, like most everything else, does have some side effects, including flu-like symptoms, headache, nausea, swelling, vomiting, fatigue, and a few other symptoms. Okay, and then now that you do know a little bit more about the basics of this treatment, I'll now go ahead and explain how this popular procedure came to be. Botox did not come about until the 1970s to 1980s, but the bacterium it is made from actually has a history in itself. According to Diane Mapes, in an article titled Frozen in Time, Botox Over the Years that she wrote for NBC News, she states that the treatment really goes all the way back to 1820 when a man named Justinius Kerner decided to look into a situation where many people developed a series of symptoms due to a food poisoning. And this food poisoning was specifically sausage poisoning, and the symptoms included drooping eyelids, muscle weakness, and breathing issues. And many people were actually dying from the strain of bacteria that was in the food causing poisoning. And then in the 1890s, the bacteria was identified and pinpointed as the botulinum toxin. And then this toxin actually does have 7 strains labeled A through G, and there's a direct correlation between this toxin and human illness. So when the 1940s came around and World War II was in an outbreak, this same strain was being used in research in order to be used as a biological weapon. It was actually referred to as the death pill, and these pills were never actually put into action, but there were many plans to use them, and they were going to be used for slipping them into food and drinks. And then after so much negativity surrounding this toxin, the 1950s to 1960s came with some light. Researchers did then begin to look at the positive effects of this strain of bacteria, and they found that injecting small amounts led to a temporary relaxation of muscles. Okay, so now that I did go over some of the history of Botox, I'm now going to turn it over to one of my group members, and he'll go ahead and go over the rest of the history of Botox and explain everything else.
According to Dr. Scott Moser in his article titled A History of Botox Injection Therapy, the Botox that is used today was developed in the 1970s by a doctor who was looking for ways to fix crossed eyes. This doctor discovered that the A strain of the toxin in its most highly purified form can actually, like I mentioned earlier, relax muscles. When this treatment relaxed the overactive eye muscles, it allowed the other eye muscles to function normally. The cure to cross eyes. Within the 1970s to 1980s, a drug company by the name of Allergan gained the rights to the discovery, and the bacteria strain began being sold for correcting cross eyes and uncontrollable blinking. This toxin started becoming more and more popular, and in the 1990s, ophthalmologists and dermatologists rapidly spread the news that this purified toxin can also be the cure to wrinkles all over the face. In 2002, the FDA officially approved the use of this toxin for cosmetic use. This is when it became known as Botox. The media picked up on this. News spread by word of mouth, and eventually, Botox being used as an injection therapy became very mainstream. Today, Botox is still very popular and widely used. According to an article named 8 Interesting Facts About Botox, a plastic surgeon by the name of William Byners says that Botox is the most popular cosmetic procedure in America and has been since the year 2000. However, since 2000, the treatment's popularity has significantly increased by 800%. In 2017, just last year, 7.23 million Botox procedures were performed in the United States. Since the discovery of cosmetic use, there have also been many recent discoveries that Botox treats other conditions as well. Dr. Binder's article discusses how Botox can relieve overactive bladder conditions. Those that struggle with an overactive bladder have spasms that had led to accidental urination. Since Botox is a muscle relaxant, it can stop the spasms and urination can be controlled. Botox can also treat migraines when injected into certain spots of the neck and head. As said by MedicinePlus.gov, Botox is used to treat a number of conditions in addition to the ones already mentioned. It can be used to help underarm sweating by blocking the secretion of the chemical that tells the sweat glands to activate. It can also reduce the effect of a disorder called cervical dystonia, in which a person has severe neck and shoulder contractions. Botox, in this case, as we have discussed in many cases before, works to relax those muscles. These are the main health problems treated by Botox to this day. Although I am sure that there will be more to come, this is the extent that it covers at this point in time. Overall, Botox is much older than most people probably know. It is super interesting to think that the most popular cosmetic treatment in America today stemmed from a deathly food poisoning in the 1820s, and its cosmetic use was accidentally discovered. Most people that go into the doctor's office to receive Botox do not know the action-packed story behind its rising popularity. Botox has come a long way, but there is still room for discovery and research. It will be incredibly exciting to see where the future takes this treatment. Thank you and goodbye.